You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day. Welcome to a double header of a show. We're talking about Mercury retrograde today. We're talking about the Pisces full moon that happens late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and we'll have a quick horoscope for each sign, as well as walk you through the energy of the entire weekend. So we'll walk through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's a lot going on. So get comfortable, get ready for a long episode here. And if you're finding this video later, I will go ahead and add markers to the timeline. So if you just want to learn about the full moon, if you just want to jump to your horoscope for your rising sign, you'll be able to do that. But I see a few people here live. Corby says, good afternoon. Rachel says, can't believe it's Friday already. I know the time is flying. It's that Virgo season energy. Go, go, go. Do. But what we'll talk about today is this duality playing out between speeding up and slowing down, between flowing and forcing. Very much that push-pull between Virgo and Pisces energy. Hope everyone's well. Hope you're well, Rose. Your 1-year-old and you have been so restless all day yesterday and today. Plus, the on-off stormy weather here didn't help so much with sleep last night. I was having a really hard time sleeping last night too. It's that full moon energy, right? Let's start though with we have a lot of Virgo birthdays to talk about today. Like, this is kind of wild when you look at the people born on 9/9. We have Adam Sandler. Who knew Adam Sandler was a Virgo? I would not guess that. Also, Leo Tolstoy, Hugh Grant. He definitely gives off some Virgo vibes. Same with Michael Bublé. Totally see this for him. And Michelle Williams. Again, very much that Virgo energy. But Adam Sandler, I wouldn't have guessed. And then we have to talk about Colonel Sanders. Also a Virgo. Those are our September 9th birthdays. Afrojack as well. Let's just see about the 10th and 11th. Karl Lagerfeld has a birthday. Colin Firth is a Virgo. Guy Ritchie, Ryan Felipe? I can never remember. Bill O'Reilly, interesting. All right, lots of notable Virgos born this weekend. And just to round it out, September 11th birthdays, we have Taraji P. Henson, Moby, Ludacris, okay, Kygo. Really a mixed bag. Scott Patterson from Gilmore Girls. We love Luke, right? Anybody else popping up for you? And then, of course, if it's your birthday, Harry Connick Jr. Can't forget Harry Connick Jr. Very interesting that he and Michael Bublé are born just a couple days apart because they both have that similar vibe in their music. Very classy and classic. But if it's your birthday, if you're a Virgo, if you know someone celebrating a birthday this weekend or today, let us know so we can celebrate them in the comments as well. Adam Sandler, we will claim him. We love Adam Sandler. He's one of those Virgos where I want to see his full chart. He's not a Virgo rising. There's no way. There's no way he's a Virgo rising, right? Like, he's got to have a little bit of fire in there or some Aquarius or something like that. All right, so let's get into it. We're just going to walk through the energy step by step, but I want to start by taking a look at today's date. Of course, it's 9922, a really powerful day. And anytime we have one of these numerologically significant days, I like to look at the energy of the number we're working with. So, of course, the energy of the day is the number 9, the numerology of the number 9. Now, today isn't necessarily a 9 number day when you look at the full date, but this isn't a numerology show. This is an astrology show, and I am not a numerologist. So you can do your own deep dive if you're into that. But I just want to look at 9, the number 9. It really ties into what's going on with the current energy and with the Pisces full moon. So the number 9, of course, is the last single digit number in, I wanted to say the alphabet, but it's not the alphabet. It's the numbers. I don't know what you would call that. But in numerology, it represents completion, and not necessarily finality, but the completion of one thing and the beginning of the next. It represents the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. Of course, we don't stop counting after 9. So it's not over. It's just we start a whole new cycle, if you will. So this number in numerology signifies transformation, death, and rebirth. It's associated also with wisdom because it carries all of the energy of the 8 numbers before it, and awakening because it represents transcendence, moving on to the next thing. Very similar to Pisces energy. Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac, representing the end of one thing and the beginning of the next cycle. And Pisces is also associated with wisdom, carrying all the wisdom of the zodiac signs before it on the astrology wheel. So this is a day to recognize how much we've grown, recognize how much we've learned, to release so we can move into the next phase, and also just to recognize the ebbs and flows of life. You know, the momentum that we build up at the beginning, and then the waning momentum at the end of things before we start all over again. So really interesting how the numerology of the day, I think, reflects the Pisces full moon energy that we're feeling. Oh, you're a life path 9, the humanitarian. I didn't know it was called the humanitarian. That's pretty cool. Lots of wisdom there, right? So I like to start there because, you know, it's a special day, 9922, especially because 2022 is one of those angel number years. We won't see another date like this until 3033. So you and I won't see another date like this ever, and unless science really takes off. And the last time we saw something like that was 1999. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. Thank you, Rose. You are so sweet. I appreciate that. All right. Also, as we start to talk about the energy, I'm curious if you're joining me live, how is it feeling for you? I know Rose said she's been restless. That's definitely common around the full moon. Anybody feeling especially sensitive under this Pisces full moon? I know I am. So just if you are, I'm right there with you. But the full moon can bring up a lot of emotions in general, especially in Pisces. When the moon's in Pisces, we're just more energetically sensitive. Party like it's 1999 or 2022, apparently, right? Okay, let's get a check on the current energy. The sun is in Virgo, the moon is in Pisces, and Corby is definitely sensitive. Yeah, I'm right there with you. So we're feeling this duality playing out. Like we touched on, the sun in Virgo wants to go, it wants to have the systems, it wants to be productive. The moon in Pisces is like, we just want to sleep, we just want to rest. We're super sensitive and easily stimulated, right? So you're probably starting to feel that duality. Do I speed up or do I slow down? And that can bring up sensitivities as well. Been kind of out of it today. The Pisces moon can do that too, causing confusion, fogginess, definitely. Chaotic. Your family is bickering and your grandpa died. Just drama. I'm so sorry, Jess. Sending you lots of love. Interesting when we talk about Pisces energy because it is the last sign. It also represents kind of the veil. It's what's just before the veil. So, you know, it's a time of closure and ending and healing as well when the moon is in Pisces, but especially with a full moon in Pisces. So we're sending you lots of love and healing through this time, and hopefully you can remain peaceful and show up for yourself and protect your own energy, regardless of what your family is doing or how they're handling their own grief. Had more energy this morning, but just hit a wall at work, really drained. Thankfully, you're done soon. That Pisces moon is asking you for rest, right? Got enough sleep last night. For once, Nick, you weren't on an all-nighter again. Today's been good for you so far. Hi, Diane. Happy to see you here. Yeah, maybe because Pisces is your moon too. Oh, so you're a full moon baby, Ken. I'm so happy you're here, Diane. All right. Yeah, I know people are going to be more sensitive this week. So I bought a huge cake for everyone when my husband's very sensitive side of the family will be gathering tomorrow. Look at you using the astrology to your advantage. I love that. You're like, everybody's going to want comfort. Everybody's going to be sensitive. Feed them with cake, right? Yeah, just trying to be an observer, Corby says. Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me all know how the energy is feeling for you. Someone on Instagram says, I'm chill, calm, and cool. Send that energy my way. Okay, so let's start by talking about the big kahuna. You've probably been seeing it all over Instagram. Everyone talking about Mercury retrograde. Mercury officially stations retrograde tonight at about 8:30 p.m. So what does this mean for us? Well, we've been feeling Mercury's shadow period, and this shadow period has been especially shadowy, if you will. It's been really hectic. I don't know if you guys have been feeling that too, but lots of little communication mishaps. And with Mercury in Libra, personally, I've noticed a lot of tension in relationships. So communicating in relationships, not just romantic ones, but friendships, things like that. Wires could have gotten crossed. There could have been misunderstandings. We've already been starting to feel this energy. But today, Mercury is at a standstill as it switches directions, or at least it appears to from our vantage point here on Earth, and starts moving backwards. So Mercury will be retrograde until October 2nd, and then we have about another week and a half of the shadow period after that. I did just launch or publish a retrograde survival guide on my website, thespiritualjournalist.com. You just click astrology and it's a retrograde survival guide because Mercury is now going to be retrograde. Mars is in its shadow period. It stations retrograde October 30th. And once that happens, literally every planet besides Venus, the sun and the moon never go retrograde, will be retrograde in our solar system. So Mercury retrograde really feels like it's kicking off this season of retrogrades. How do we work with it? How do we make sure that we're taking the lessons, leaving the pain, observing any mishaps as opportunities to redirect, review, revise? Well, I got you. And that's why I published this retrograde survival guide. So here's what it looks like, at least for Mercury. And there's something like this for every planet on thespiritualjournalist.com. But it's just a quick breakdown where the retrograde starts, where the retrograde ends, and some quick bullet points of how you can use this energy, which placements, which signs will likely be most affected. So retrogrades in general are times to redo, slow down, revise, reconsider things. It's that re of the retrograde. So if you're noticing roadblocks or glitches, especially Mercury being the planet of communication, short-term travel, technology, notorious for tech issues. Lots of people have been having tech issues. Also for be sure you're texting the right person during Mercury retrograde. We always say don't text your ex during Mercury retrograde, especially Mercury in Libra. People from your past relationships could be coming back into your life. And again, this isn't just romantic relationships. This could be friends. This could be people from your past that you thought were out of your life, all of a sudden pop back up into your life. What is the lesson the universe is trying to show you or remind you of by bringing that person back into your life? So with Mercury retrograde, it starts at 8 degrees Libra, moves back to 24 degrees Virgo. So we're going to feel this kind of in two parts. And let me tell you when it moves back into Virgo. I have it here on my calendar. Let's see. Mercury moves back into Virgo on September 23rd, the day after Libra season starts. So the first half of Mercury retrograde, I see a lot of emphasis on relationships, on how we're communicating with other people, how we're sharing ideas, how we're taking in information, really relating through communication, because of course our ability to speak, that's Mercury retrograde, right? Like not fully making sense, give people grace, myself included. But our ability to take in information, to share information is a key component in how we relate to other people. So if you start seeing breakdowns in communication, maybe review, how am I relating to this person? Am I taking enough time to listen to their point of view before interjecting my own opinion or my own point of view? Am I being judgmental? Libra energy can be a little bit judgmental because we can see another perspective. Am I playing devil's advocate too much? Guilty of that over here. And then once Mercury moves back into Virgo on September 23rd, we go back into that very Virgo energy. It's almost like Virgo season is extended, or we get this little extra review of Virgo season because Mercury rules Virgo as well. So you might start to notice habits popping up, patterns popping up when Mercury moves back into Virgo. So this is really a time to not only look at how you're communicating with other people and how that affects your relationships, but how you are analyzing, planning, scheduling out your day when Mercury moves back into Virgo, how those small things that you do make up the bigger picture. And you might notice with Mercury moving back into Virgo that your daily routines are being disturbed, or health issues are popping up, even just minor health issues telling you to slow down. Because in general, Mercury likes to move quickly and go, go, go and do. It's very much that Virgo energy we talked about. So when it's retrograde, there is this push for us to slow down, to be able to take the time to review. And then some things to reconsider: your work-life balance when Mercury moves back into Virgo. How much time are you taking for your relationships? How much time are you taking to be productive, right? Rachel and I had a great conversation during her reading about us Virgos having a hard time resting, and Mercury retrograde and this Pisces full moon are both opportunities for us to rest and slow down. Also, reconsider how much you're giving versus how much you're taking. And that's not even just physically or energetically, like just in communication, how much are you listening versus how much are you talking? And the placements likely most affected by this Mercury retrograde: Libra placements, of course, because Mercury retrograde starts in Libra; Virgo and Gemini placements that are ruled by Mercury; Pisces opposing those Virgo placements; and Aries placements opposing Mercury in Libra. So taking a look at your chart, seeing where that window of 8 degrees to 24 degrees falls. Are there any planets squaring that area, opposing that area, or in the middle of that window that are going to be activated by this Mercury retrograde? That's really the best way to figure out how you'll likely be affected. And of course, we can't predict the future, but it is kind of nice to know what's coming up for your chart to give you an idea of what you can focus on or review during this retrograde. Yeah, lots of retrograde action. And I'm curious, let me know if you're interested. I might do a video, I don't know if I would do it live, but just really quickly going through all the retrogrades that are coming up through the end of the year. Retrograde season will be kind of in full swing until about mid-January, and how you can use those, what parts of your chart the retrogrades will activate. A lot of the outer planets we don't feel as strongly, but I really think we're going to start to experience that retrograde energy a little bit more with Mercury retrograde, because we'll be more consciously aware of it with just those little issues popping up. Because Mercury is our day-to-day. It's our technology, it's our speech, so much of how we operate is our rational mind, and Mercury rules our rational mind. Right, it's really hard to keep track of all the retrogrades. Yeah, so again, there is a full guide on my website there for you at all times. I'll actually just drop a link in the chat right now. So you can bookmark it, you can go back to it at any time, and it has a little blurb about each retrograde too. So like a little paragraph to just give you a little bit of a deeper dive, not any intense reading or anything like that, but just a resource for you. Yeah, that's why you said being in the state of observing, just listening, not judging, being supportive. Beautiful. Beautiful. Send a little bit of that my way. Brittany says, took PTO today and got a massage and shopped. Yes, you're feeling it. Feeling that slow down, that self-care, that juicy, flowy Pisces energy. You're already aligned to it. That is beautiful. Kind of happy Mercury stays in my first house. I was worried about it going back in my 12th house. Me too. Me too. So for you and for anybody with Mercury, moving back through their first house, or if you are a Libra rising or a Virgo rising, this might bring up, how are you showing up in communication? How are you contributing to the conversation? It might bring more focus to yourself and your purpose as you're reviewing how you communicate, how you relate to other people. Been seeing my exes and their friends stalking your IG stories. Ooh, that is juicy. That is Mercury retrograde, right? I had a friend that I haven't talked to in over a year randomly messaged me out of the blue. And I was like, oh, okay. And then no response, but really interesting. That's why I love understanding astrology, because instead of being like, oh, why is this happening? I'm like, of course, Mercury retrograde, right? Okay, so that is, oh, you got a mani-pedi with your cousin yesterday. Relaxing, and they give you a massage too. Yeah, self-care. We love that for the Pisces full moon. Let's talk about the moon. So the moon is becoming full in Pisces as we speak, and the moon is making a couple different connections today. So let's just talk about Pisces energy for a moment before we start to get into all the connections this full moon makes and what it means for your sign. Pisces energy, we've touched on this a little bit, but it is hypersensitive, right? It's extrasensory, if you will. It's like that sixth sense, that knowing, that being able to sense other people's energy, being able to communicate through the veil. Our psychic abilities are heightened, but it's also not rational or logical. It's that ability to dream and imagine and to close your eyes and see a beautiful picture in your mind's eye. Pisces energy activates our pineal gland, or our third eye. So meditation is a really beautiful way to tap into this full moon in Pisces. Any sort of activity that gets you more into a flow state where you're not necessarily relying on your rational mind, but instead allowing yourself to feel energy. It really does play into this push-pull dynamic between Virgo and Pisces, because Virgo wants to see it. It wants the clarity. It wants the proof. It wants to analyze it, whereas Pisces doesn't need the proof. Pisces energy asks us to trust and believe and to flow and have faith. So full moons are always bringing up that polarity, but here it really does feel like these two opposing energies that are asking us to slow down and be present and try to find a little bit of flow in the midst of the go, go, go Virgo season. And, something that came up for me as I was thinking about the Pisces full moon was the fact that Pisces likes to wonder. Virgo needs the answer. Pisces wants to just keep wondering. It's that, like, constantly asking questions, but what if this, or this could be possible? It's the dreamer energy. So being in the unknown, being comfortable in the unknown is a beautiful way to tap into the energy of this full moon in Pisces, going with the flow, allowing the universe to lead the way, even when we don't understand why things are happening the way they are, even when we don't have the answers that we are probably wanting right now to be clear cut. Especially with Mercury retrograde, it's like things are going to get foggier, so might as well get comfortable in the fog, right? Might as well sit down and let that fog envelop you and see what you can envision when you're not relying on your five senses, instead using your sixth sense. So the Pisces moon has made it's already made one connection today. We woke up under an opposition between the moon and Venus. Remember, Venus is in Virgo, in detriment. We can be a little bit more critical, harsh, analytical of our relationships with Venus and Virgo. We're really attuned to the details and wanting things to be just so. We want acts of service with Venus and Virgo. So again, it's that energy of like wanting things to be a particular way, whereas Pisces energy, the Pisces moon is fine with things being a mess. It's fine with not having it all figured out right now, with just living in the messiness, right? So this opposition between the moon and Venus, anytime the moon opposes Venus, we can feel a little needy, okay? We can feel a little bit like we want our needs met, and probably like we want acts of service, specifically with Venus and Virgo. So you can see the moon, where are you, moon in Pisces, and Venus at 5 degrees. This was around 6 a.m. that this was exact. Probably what you woke up under, just feeling kind of needy, like you want some love. And especially with the moon in Pisces, we're more attuned to other people's energy. So it might be like you're with Venus and Virgo, like you want the person you're relating to feel a certain way. You know, you want them to show you love without you having to tell them how to do it. You want them to be able to pick up on your energy. Again, neediness. But watch out for trying to control or force or manipulate to get love, because it's not going to feel good when you get it, when you're like, this is what I want. You know, yes, it's good to ask for what you want, but I don't know. If anybody else felt needy this morning, you can thank this opposition to Venus. So you might notice also other people being a little bit needier, or even we can kind of like act out a little bit to get what we want, to get love when the moon opposes Venus. So, you know, be careful. Mercury is about to station retrograde. Miscommunication is possible in the midst of those needy moments as well. And so, you know, just giving other people grace for sure, and knowing that you can ask for what you want, but also people can't read your mind, and you can also give yourself the love that you crave. That's something important regardless of what's going on with the moon. If you need love, find it in yourself before like seeking it out through not just relationships, but through comfort food or spending money. Venus wants us to feel good, wants us to feel pleasure, and this opposition makes us feel like we need to reach for something to feel good. We need that sugary coffee. We need the sugary whatever, the savory food, the fries from McDonald's. We need that really nice thing we've had our eye on online. We just need it today. You know, that's kind of the energy when the moon opposes Venus. Katie says this Pisces full moon is a challenge for this Aquarius, Capricorn, Virgo. Yeah, I want things the way I want them, and Pisces is pushing me to let go of control. It's heavy metal music therapy for me today. I always love when Katie pops in because she always has great insights, and it almost every time triggers something like, yes, yes. Pisces is very artistic and musical. Again, it's that energy. Music is that energy that we can feel but not see or totally make sense of, right? Unless you're like an audio engineer. But music therapy is a great way to lean into the flow of the Pisces moon, like letting yourself just feel things, getting out a good cry, releasing emotions. This full moon is really powerful for releasing emotions. Now I want fries. Sorry for planting that in your mind. Yeah, your life as Venus as your ruling planet. Yeah, you just want to feel good, right? You just want pleasure. So if you're feeling needy as well, that could be a signal of something that needs to be released, something that you're repressing, you know? How can you flow through that under the Pisces moon? And this afternoon at 4 p.m., the other connection the Pisces moon is going to make on Friday is a square to Mars. Yeah, not the easiest energy to work with today. So you'll see the moon, when it hits 11 degrees, will be squaring Mars. Now, a square is that tense 90-degree angle. Mars is the planet of aggression, action, agitation, movement. So you might feel restless this afternoon, like you really just need to get those emotions out. Movement is your friend anytime that Mars is forming a tense angle to the moon. Movement can help you like literally move emotions out of your body. We might feel impatient, a little bit anxious or agitated this afternoon. The nice thing about this is that Pisces, the moon in Pisces, the moon's in a mutable sign. Mars is in Gemini, also a mutable sign. So the more we go with the flow of our day, the more we can kind of like let things brush off of us and just keep flowing and moving, the less likely we're going to get stuck in that agitation. It's when we're like, no, I need things this way, that Virgo energy, that we're like, oh, I'm so agitated, right? So dancing, moving your body, physical exercise can be really powerful ways to work with the energy this Friday afternoon to release any tension or agitation. Just know that people could be a little angry or tempers could flare, especially if those wires get crossed with Mercury retrograde. Give people grace, give yourself some grace. Don't be afraid to ask, am I hearing this correctly? There's actually, you know what is really powerful about this full moon is, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Imago method, but this is something that could be really helpful with Mercury retrograde in Libra too. And I just feel like I need to tell you all this right now. There is this book. What's it called? Is it on my shelf over here? Why aren't you on my shelf? Oh, yes. Getting the Love You Want by, I can't remember his name and I can't see it. But Getting the Love You Want, it's all about the Imago method. And essentially, it's called mirroring in relationships. So when you're in conflict, if you're experiencing tension with someone else, mirroring what they're saying. And this kind of comes back to that give and take dynamic of what we're reviewing with Mercury retrograde in Libra. I know we're going back to Mercury retrograde, but I promise I have a point. So mirroring involves, like, even when somebody's saying something you don't agree with, being like, here's what I'm hearing you say, and then repeating back exactly what they said and saying, did I hear that correctly? And if it's a no, okay, what did I get wrong? You know, just being willing to hold that space to fully understand and validate what the other person is saying. It's a lot easier said than done, but it's a really powerful way to diffuse tension, and it might be helpful when the moon squares Mars this afternoon, or just a helpful little tool to keep with you throughout Mercury retrograde in Libra, throughout the end of September. Just trying that out if you're experiencing any communication breakdowns or conflict in your closest relationships. Dance party tonight on the East Coast. Yes. Dance party tonight everywhere. We all need to dance it out under the Pisces moon, I think. That's a really beautiful way to work with the energy. So Imago method, mirroring, highly recommend if anybody is experiencing tension in the next few weeks. So those are the transits for today. Now let's talk about the different aspects the full moon makes overnight as it becomes full. So the full moon is exact at about 3 a.m. Pacific time, so really early Saturday morning. And as it gets fuller and fuller, our sensitivities will probably get more and more sensitive. You might experience a flood of emotions at some point Friday, Saturday, just as things are being released under the Pisces full moon. Remember, a full moon is a time of release. It's that culmination point, that water or that cup of water brimming over, just ready to, dump out. So we're really sensitive. We can sense the fullness, the culmination of our emotions under the Pisces moon. And yes, this can provoke our feelings, but it can also make us more sensitive to messages from our guides, to angel numbers, to other people's energy, like I said, to energy work. So just know that if you're getting a signal and you're like, is that just me, or is that butterfly like really hanging out over there, or whatever kind of your symbols are, probably spirit guides coming through under the Pisces moon if you're open to it. Also, remember, moons work in 6-month cycles. So what intentions did you set under the new moon in Pisces back in, I believe it was February, end of February? This is kind of a culmination point of those intentions. So a really powerful moment to reflect on how much you've grown, all the insights and wisdom you've gained over the past 6 months, and also to release anything that is keeping you from fully bringing those insights into fruition, right? Into completion, because there is an element of completion with Pisces energy. So really tapping into all of our spiritual tools under a Pisces moon and letting ourselves feel our feelings. I think that's like the biggest message I can send, is like, let yourself feel your feelings under the Pisces moon. Let them come up and out, whether that's through tears, through dance, through singing, through running, movement of any sort, through meditating. That can be a powerful way to observe our emotions, right? Breath work would be really powerful too. Really, this full moon marks this moment to heal, Pisces involving healing, through release, releasing what's no longer serving our continued ascension in the next cycle, our ability to level up and to be renewed and be reborn. What's really cool about this full moon, let me show you on the chart here, is that it's forming some supportive angles to the North Node and to Uranus. So it does feel like it marks a change in some way. Let's go back so you can see exactly what's going on with the full moon. Mind you, the full moon is at 17 degrees in Pisces, so a great time to take a look at your chart. What's going on at 17 degrees Pisces, 17 degrees Virgo, right around that point. That's what's really going to be activated by the full moon. Okay, so you see this 16-degree mark here. The moon will form a sextile to the North Node, a trine to the South Node, right? Also a trine to Lilith. So overnight, there could be some really profound insights that come through in your dreams under this full moon, because a few hours later, the full moon will also form that same sextile to Uranus over here. And Uranus likes to bring in new information, new insights, change things up. So you might have kind of chaotic dreams or really vivid dreams that are trying to show you what's next steps to take in your waking life. What do you need to release? How do you move forward? Really pay attention to your dreams under this full moon, especially because Pisces is the sign that represents our dreams. And just know that whatever emotions are coming up, whatever is being released under this Pisces full moon is really here to illuminate your direction, your purpose, the lessons you're here to learn. The full moon is fully illuminated, so it fully illuminates our emotions, which is why we're often very sensitive around a full moon. But with this sextile to Uranus, our intuition is heightened as well. Those insights can come through. We're more open to energy that can't normally be perceived. So something to keep in mind. And then tomorrow, Saturday afternoon, the moon will form a conjunction to Neptune. So Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, is also loosely conjunct this full moon. Saturday is a powerful day for flow. Whatever that looks like for you, creativity, any sort of inspiration, dreaminess, really flowing with it. Also, if you're feeling sensitive now and the moon is conjunct Neptune, that sensitivity could be heightened even more. So just, again, something to keep in mind. You might be especially sensitive all weekend. And I want to talk about Neptune energy for a moment because, again, it is the ruler of Pisces. So when we talk about Neptune, we're really tapping into Pisces energy. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. So Venus being the planet of love, money, and beauty, Neptune is the planet of unconditional love, of spiritual love, of oneness, that concept of love that's not just about you and me, but it's all of us because we're all one. So unconditional love is a theme that will likely come up around this full moon in Pisces. How can you be more unconditional in your love? Love is not transactional, right? And that is a concept that might come up with Mercury retrograde in Libra too. Being needy, using love as a transaction to feel good. Instead, tap into the love you have for yourself. Tap into the love of spirit, of God, the universe, whatever you believe in, of astrology, of your birth chart. Because the moon forming a conjunction to Neptune can really help us be in that energy. Meditation, again, would be a really powerful way to get into that state and just flow. Flow, use your imagination, dream, be creative on Saturday. The last connection the Pisces full moon will make is a sextile to Pluto at 5 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday. So you can see that in our chart too. Once the moon hits 26 degrees, it forms a nice sextile to Pluto over here. And that feels like this moment of transformation, this final little push for release, maybe even a final surge of emotions or anything that was like kind of hiding down there might come up when the moon forms a sextile to Pluto. But it is a supportive angle, and whatever is being released, being shed now, is really here to help us clear the slate, wash it away so we can have a clean slate moving forward, especially with the moon moving into Aries late Saturday night. It is that fresh energy, that restart. So the sextile to Pluto at the end of the moon's trek through Pisces is just like that final moment of transformation, that final little death, so we can be reborn in the next chapter. And one other thing I want to mention about Pisces energy that a friend of mine, I had her on, the spiritual journalist, Veronica Lee. She does a weekly transformational forecast, and it's just kind of tapping into the energy and the Akashic records. And she talked about a visual she got this week, like experiencing resistance, but almost being able to flow under it. And the visual she got was almost as if like there's like a rock that you're coming up against, but instead of fighting it or pushing against it, you're able to just kind of like slide right under it. And I've really been holding that visual in my mind a lot this week. Like there's going to be some sort of obstacle, but instead of fighting it, just kind of flowing under it, letting it wash over you, letting it pass over you. Yeah, you might feel those emotions in the process, but letting them flow through you can make it less of an obstacle and more of a flow. So maybe that visual helps you too. I know that it's been coming up over and over again for me. And then the moon is void on Saturday from about 5 p.m. to nearly midnight. So especially a void moon in Pisces, you might find yourself getting tired on Saturday evening, just kind of wanting to check out a little bit, watch a movie, check out into a book, go off into fantasy land, not really wanting to start anything new or do any new creative projects or anything like that, but just kind of taking a chill pill on Saturday night. The moon will move into Aries just before midnight. Yes, like flying under the radar. Yes, love that, Nick. Love that. Oh, Rachel says, you mirror a lot. I want to make sure I heard the person correctly and understand what they're saying. So I always repeat what they say. That's beautiful. Such a helpful practice. And if you don't do it already, it seems really silly at first. Like, what I'm hearing you say is, and then repeating it, but it can be really, really helpful in diffusing any tension, because especially with Mercury retrograde, with this Virgo energy, we can be really quick to interject and be like, this is what I want to say right now. But just taking that moment to make sure the other person feels heard can diffuse a lot of tension. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm working on it. Okay, so let's talk about the moon moving into, or actually we'll talk about Sunday and then we'll talk about the moon moving into Aries. But just know the moon is moving into Aries on Saturday night just before midnight. And you know what? Before we get to that, we got to go through our horoscopes for each sign while we're on the full moon in Pisces before we move on from the full moon. So at this point, I always tell you guys, look at your rising sign. Listen for your rising sign if you know it. If you don't know your rising sign, you can get a free copy of your birth chart. There's a link under this video. You can just go to thespiritualjournalist.com/birth chart. When you calculate it, it's totally free. Just look for the ASC. That means ascendant or your rising sign. If you don't know your rising sign, just listen for your sun sign. If it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. But I do base these horoscopes off of your rising sign because it tells me what area of your chart is being activated. So without further ado, let's go through each sign very quickly. We're going to start with Pisces because you guys are usually at the end of the list, and we're going to make our way backwards through the zodiac today. So again, listen for your rising sign. We'll start with our Pisces risings. This is real, and before I get into it, I not only took into account the full moon, but also what's happening in your chart with Mercury retrograde. So this is kind of like a mashup of a horoscope, just FYI. I like to let you guys know what I'm speaking to for each sign. Pisces risings, this is really a time to celebrate how much you've grown this year, because the full moon will likely be in your first house, your house of identity, your house of self. You're in the spotlight this week with the moon, the full moon right there. How are your relationships, though, supporting this evolution? Because the sun is in your 7th house, in Virgo, in your house of relationships. So yeah, you're kind of in the spotlight, but take notice of your relationships. Are they supporting your growth and your evolution? If not, Why is that? And with Mercury retrograde in Libra, the sign of relationships, this could be a time to review the people you're surrounding yourself with, the energy they're infusing into your life, and is it beneficial? Is it helpful? Do you need to maybe form some energetic boundaries? Might be the case if you're a Pisces rising. So really celebrate you and take note of how far you've come and how much your relationships have influenced your evolution. Maybe it's saying thank you because your relationships have been really positive and supportive, but it might also be time to release some people or set some boundaries. All right, Aquarius risings. Deep realizations might be surfacing for you under this full moon. The work that you're doing on an energetic level with the sun in your 8th house, all about what's underneath the surface, is going to help you in the physical world with the moon in your 2nd house of physical resources, values, money. So really take note of the energetics. What energy are you putting out into the world, and how is the universe responding to that energy? What are you trying to call in, and how can your energy help you call that in? What bonds do you have with other people on an energetic level, and how are they pulling your energy? So this is a really powerful time to dig a little deeper, Aquarius risings, because in this next chapter, it will likely be very expansive for you during Libra season. So now's the time to like really get intimate with yourself so you're ready for that expansion. And again, the energy you put out is the energy you call in. So if you're putting out negative energy, the universe probably isn't going to respond with abundance. If you're putting out abundant energy, see how things flow into your life. Capricorn risings. This is a really expansive and adventurous time for you during Virgo season with the sun in your 9th house. So this polarity between the moon and the sun play out in your 9th house and your 3rd house. This is a really powerful time to reflect on how much you're expanding right now through journaling, through talking to other people, through communication with the moon in your 3rd house, this full moon. Share what's on your heart. Share those emotions with other people. Call up a friend. Share what you've been learning through your emotional experience. That's a really powerful way to work with this full moon energy. And know that there could be tension playing out for you in communication, in your relationships, with Mercury and Libra squaring probably your rising sign or making a square to your 1st house. Just know that whatever tension is coming up is really here to help you evolve as a person and help you grow. Okay, Sagittarius risings. How's your work-life balance? The sun is in your 10th house of career, really illuminating success and your drive to reach the top, your ambition. But in your quest for success, Sagittarius risings, make sure that you're creating space for your family too. This full moon is in your 4th house, all about family and the home. So you might be feeling especially sensitive about family matters right now. Remember why you're working so hard. What is your why for success? Yeah, you want the money, you want all that good stuff, the wealth, the recognition, the things that most of us want in life, but what's your deeper why? Reflect back on your home life and really tune into your home and family under this full moon in Pisces. Share your love with them. Take that time to slow down and just be with family under the Pisces full moon. If you're a Sag rising, you're probably all about jet setting and expanding and being social, but I see this Pisces full moon as a little bit more introspective for you. Why are you working so hard? What is your reason for wanting to succeed? Okay, Scorpio risings. Might be feeling like getting a little wild. Let your creativity really shine under this full moon in Pisces. Your Scorpio placements are harmonizing with the watery Pisces moon, so that creativity, that intuition is heightened. And the sun is in your 11th house right now, so your network is illuminated. Do a creative project with a group of people, with some friends. Have some fun. Call up your community, get your network together and do something creative, fun, expressive together. Really, this season is about finding your people, and this full moon can help illuminate that creative, expressive energy that lights you up and brings those people in towards you. So full permission to have fun, be free, and go with the flow if you are a Scorpio rising. Libra risings, your daily routine is really being illuminated under this full moon in your 6th house. Even if you're not feeling 100%, because the sun's in your 12th house, Libra rising, so you might be feeling a little bit low energy, like you're doing a lot of healing right now, like maybe there is some closure that needs to happen. But really pay attention to your small daily routines and how they're contributing to your overall wellness, Libra risings. Even small steps like a short walk, making one healthy meal can make a big difference in your mental health. I see mental health being really big for you right now if you're a Libra rising, or if the sun is still in your 12th house. So just take those small moments to feed yourself, to fuel yourself, to fill up your own cup, so that once Libra season kicks in and the sun's in your 1st house and you're feeling yourself again, you are of sound mind, body, and spirit. You've filled yourself back up so you can show up as your brightest, fullest self in the next season. Okay, Virgo rising. Speaking of showing up, how are you showing up, Virgo risings? Yeah, the sun's moving into your 1st house. It's your season. You're feeling yourself. Yes, we know that you are excellent at meeting other people's expectations if you're a Virgo rising, but what are you doing just for yourself? Because this full moon is lighting up your relationships. There's a lot of sensitivity coming up around relationships if you're a Virgo rising, and you might be feeling extra sensitive to other people's needs with this very sensitive Pisces moon. But as it opposes the sun in your 1st house, how are you showing up for you? How are you filling up your own cup so you can shine brighter and then feed back into those relationships attuned to other people's needs? Virgo is a sign of service. So, Virgo risings truly want to be helpful and care for other people. Yeah, we can be a little critical in the process, but we really do want to be helpful. But this is a full moon to really take note of how you're showing up for yourself and how you're filling up your own cup so you can better serve in relationships. Leo risings, energy is everything for you right now. How are you spending your energy or your money? Remember, money is energy. It's just energetic. It's physical currency that represents energetic currency. So this full moon brings a reflection on your values and who you're sharing your resources with. The sun is in your 2nd house. You're probably feeling really motivated and driven during Virgo season to make money, to find new streams of income, even to shop, to call in resources, right? But reflect on how you're energetically sharing those resources with the moon in your 8th house. Who are you sharing with? What are those energetic connections look like? And it's very similar to what we said about the Aquarius rising dynamic, because it's on that same axis for Leo risings. It's like your energy is influencing what you're able to call in, and even vice versa, like what you're physically spending money on is also an energetic attraction of who you're calling in too, if that makes sense. So really assess your energy. How are you spending it? How are you spending money? And making sure money is an energetic connection as well. So who are you energetically connected to because of the resources you're calling in or the way you're spending your resources? Cancer risings. You've been learning a lot this year. The full moon is in your 9th house of expansion. So how can you share? The 9th house is all about publishing, sharing, wisdom, higher learning, travel. It's really a time to share with other people under this full moon. Strike up a conversation, share your wisdom. You're already very sensitive to other people's energy. If you're a Cancer rising, you're ruled by the moon, so you're probably feeling especially sensitive if you have a lot of Cancer energy in your chart. And sensitivity is not like a bad thing. Sensitivity is really beautiful and powerful, being able to tap into other people's emotions. Maybe you're sharing ways that you work with that sensitivity, you know, that you protect yourself, you protect your energy, that you've created boundaries with other people who are feeling especially sensitive under this Pisces full moon, who maybe don't always feel sensitive like you do. So sharing your wisdom, striking up a conversation, being open to new ways to protect your energy. But also I just see this really being a giving energy for you under the Pisces full moon. All right, Gemini risings. This week brings a moment to celebrate your success with the full moon in your 9th house really illuminating, or excuse me, your 10th house really illuminating how much you've accomplished so far this year. But it doesn't just relate to work. With the sun now in your 4th house, acknowledge your successes at home, Gemini risings. Acknowledge your successes in building a sturdy foundation for yourself and for your family, or for making your family proud, the family that raised you. So it's not just about the money and the wealth and the success and the drive and the ambition that you're probably feeling, but it's also about, you know, your why you're doing those things. And this full moon probably brings up a lot of tension for you if you're a Gemini rising, because it's in mutable signs. Virgo is a mutable sign, Pisces is a mutable sign, Gemini is a mutable sign, Mars is in your 1st house most likely. So you're probably feeling that agitation if you're a Gemini rising, like, do I keep doing more? You know, like, do I keep striving for success? Full permission, Gemini risings, to just slow down, retreat back to your home, find that cozy comfort and flow in a place that feels safe for you. It is safe to take a break from the climb under this Pisces full moon and just let yourself feel the feels, you know, in a safe, comfortable environment. Taurus risings. Find people who help you have fun and let loose this week. Your community is really your greatest asset under this full moon. The full moon's in your 11th house of community and your network. So if you're a Taurus rising, really take note of who you're surrounding yourself with. How does their energy affect you? And are you surrounding yourself with people who help you have more fun and be more expressive? Because the sun is in your 5th house of your inner child, of creativity. So take note, who are you surrounding yourself with? And in this energetically sensitive full moon, how are other people's energetic influences affecting you? Are they making you feel more fun and expressive, or are they making you kind of shut down and not want to share your truth and who you really are? This is really a full moon to take note as you're in that sensitive space of how other people's energy affects you. And last but not least, the first sign of the zodiac we saved for last. Your health is your wealth, Aries risings. Your health is your wealth. Give yourself permission to rest this week. The full moon is in your 12th house, maybe making you feel tired, emotional, like you really just need release, healing, closure. And recognize that the sun is in your 6th house of health and wellness. So how are you filling up your own cup? You know, even if you're an Aries rising, there's probably this tendency to always be on the go, always be doing something. This full moon is full permission to just relax, rest. That in itself is productive, right? To chill out. So small moments of mindfulness, of meditation, of healing can really be beneficial to your overall health this Virgo season, especially under this Pisces moon. And the Pisces moon can also bring an awareness to areas of your life you've been neglecting, or your physical body that you've been neglecting. So really attune to those things if you're an Aries rising, and make sure you're nurturing your body. I really feel like your body is asking for rest under this full moon. And know that Mercury is going retrograde in your house of relationships in Libra. So taking that time to rest and slow down, probably not in your nature if you're an Aries rising, but forcing yourself to slow down a little bit, even in the way you're communicating with Mercury going retrograde, can avoid needing to do more healing in the future. It can be really healing for you to just slow down and take that pause as an Aries rising. All right, those are all the signs. Hopefully that resonated for you, gave you a little bit of something to think about around this full moon, something to reflect on. You can find all of the horoscopes at thespiritualjournalist.com/daily astrology under the full moon forecast that'll be published late tonight. So you can always revisit them over there. And I'm sure I'll do a post or something on Instagram too. Now let's talk about Sunday as we round out our weekend. So we have another major transit to talk about on Sunday. The sun is harmonizing with Uranus, forming this nice trine to Uranus. So let's see if we can get that to pop up on the chart here. The sun at 18 degrees, Uranus at 18 degrees. Here's what that looks like. The dark blue line represents that trine, that balanced, harmonious 120-degree connection. And so anytime we have two planets in a trine like this, their energies are flowing together easily because they're in the same element. The sun is in the earth sign of Virgo, Uranus is in the earth sign of Taurus. And it really feels like the more we flow under this full moon, the easier transformation will happen, the easier change will naturally unfold. And that's the energy that's coming along with this trine between the sun and Uranus. Now, something I found really interesting, we talked about the energy of the 9, the energy of release and death so we can be reborn, right? The energy of transformation with Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac, getting us ready for fresh energy. The moon literally moves into the sign of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, late Sunday or Saturday night, early Sunday morning. And then we have this trine between the sun and Uranus, marking this unfolding of change, of transformation, of shifts, of breakthroughs. But what is so profound about this, if you ask me at least, is that the last time we saw a trine between the sun and Uranus, this happens twice a year, the last time we saw a trine was on the first of the year, on 1/1/1122. That was the last time the sun connected to Uranus when the sun was in Capricorn, like in this way. So it literally marked this new beginning, fresh insights, change, transformation, a new chapter starting on the first of the year. And now, as we are marking this culmination point, this release, this ending with the full moon in Pisces, the day after marks a new beginning, new insights, new information even coming through, a change that's unfolding really naturally and easily. And the full moon amplifies this energy, but this fortunate connection also amplifies this energy. So we might have chance encounters, surprising opportunities that pop up at the end of the weekend or the beginning of next week as everyone's more attuned to their psychic abilities, their sensitivities under the full moon. Insights can come through, and that can start a new chapter or, spark new possibility with the sun harmonizing with Uranus on Sunday. So if you're hoping to shed the old under the Pisces moon, shed any stagnant energy, let it wash down the drain, and start a new chapter by the end of the weekend, this is the perfect energy. And this is Sunday morning. So you might wake up feeling like a new version of yourself on Sunday even. Really the perfect energy for transformation, and really goes well with the flow that we've been talking about with shedding the old, welcoming in the new. At the same time, as I mentioned, the moon moves into Aries overnight. Aries moon's all about fresh starts, new beginnings, motivation, get up and go energy, moving our bodies. Moving your body is going to be really powerful all weekend, not only for the release aspect, but for also the calling in new energy. Do you ever notice that if you're like running or doing a yoga flow or dancing, that you start to have ideas come through? Yeah. The moon in Aries is going to help with that release process and to bring through those insights, because it's still a waning gibbous moon in Aries. So we're still in the release phase, but we can physically release a lot through moving our body with the moon in Aries over the coming days. The moon forms a conjunction to Jupiter on Sunday morning. So you might wake up again feeling fresh, positive, optimistic, like you have this boost of energy, like you can handle anything, you can take on the day when the moon forms a conjunction to Jupiter. And we love that on a Sunday morning. It's like Saturday is sleepy, Pisces, release, maybe even a little weepy. I've cried a bunch today already, full disclosure. Sunday is like, we're a new person. Let's start over. Let's get up. Let's go. everything's working out in our favor as the Aries moon forms a conjunction to Jupiter. It's all good. Like, it's all working out. We have this sense of faith and optimism. By Sunday afternoon, the moon opposes Mercury in Libra. And remember now, Mercury is retrograde in Libra. So it can feel a little bit like our body has a lot of energy, but our mind is slowing down with Mercury now retrograde. So there could be an element on Sunday afternoon of balancing our mind with our body, balancing our ability to rationalize our logic with what's on our heart. Balancing emotion and logic, essentially. This can make us a little reactive because our body could be telling us one thing and our mind could be telling us another. Our emotions could be telling us one thing and our mind could be telling us another. We could rationally know, like, this isn't what's going on, but our body is like, no, we need to react, you know? So this, again, is really bringing awareness to Mercury retrograde, slowing down, having effective communication. Mirroring other people can be really helpful when the moon opposes Mercury. Even though emotionally we have this tendency to react under the Aries moon, to just go for it, avoid that tendency. Slow down. Make sure you're fully understanding the person on the other side of the conversation before you react on Sunday afternoon. And the final connection that we will talk about in this very long stream is the moon forming a sextile to Mars to end the weekend, 9 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday evening. We might get a little final burst of energy, a motivation as we look to the week ahead, like really feeling that fresh start energy by the end of the weekend. And again, moving your body is going to be really helpful. You might feel like excited or motivated about all the things you're going to do in the week ahead. Lots of Mars energy on Sunday to end the weekend. Just kind of really, it could be a little bit aggressive, but I see it being more motivating by the end of the weekend than reactive. As long as we get through any Mercury retrograde snags with grace and understanding, I think this will feel more motivating than it does aggressive. But if you do get caught in a communication breakdown, try not to overreact or interject too quickly, because Mars will make you feel like you want to do that. All right. Those are all of our transits for the weekend. A lot to take in, but like I said, I will add markers to the timeline so you can come back, revisit any part of the forecast that you're wanting clarity on. Yes, like the change from Elizabeth to Charles. Really interesting. And I haven't done a deep dive into Queen Elizabeth's chart. I know a lot of astrologers have, but she was a Taurus, and we have Uranus in Taurus. I don't know how close it was to her sun, but also she was a Capricorn moon, I believe, and Pluto is on her moon, or maybe she was a Capricorn rising and a Leo moon. That might be what it is. But either way, there was a lot going on with her chart. When you look at her chart compared to the current chart, that really marked this moment of transition. And yeah, I do feel like this full moon in Pisces, people are really going to be feeling the emotion of Elizabeth dying this weekend, Queen Elizabeth. And then it might feel like almost a new era starting to begin after this full moon as the sun harmonizes with Uranus and Taurus. This change starts to happen. I know he won't be coronated. Is that what it's called? His coronation won't be for a couple months, but really starting to feel that change. And, you know, Uranus moves so slowly that we're already starting to experience that trine between the sun and Uranus. So the world is already feeling that change. I believe Charles gave his first address this morning. So definitely one of those big changes, collective consciousness changes that we're all experiencing. And one more thing I want to add about that is with the sun harmonizing with Uranus, the sun being our consciousness, our awareness, we're all more aware of this major change that's happened. I heard an expert on the Queen on the news last night talking about the fact that people dreamt about the Queen or still do dream about the Queen. Like, she is part of our collective consciousness. There are almost everyone in the modern world that is tapped into technology and the news knows who Queen Elizabeth is and has for 70 years since she's reigned, right? So really interesting when you think about the impact this woman has had on the world. And she's almost looked at as a mother figure by many. And now we're having this change, this big change that we're all collectively walking through together with the sun harmonizing with Uranus. This change is going to be big. Yeah, not just on the collective level, but on an individual level too. Pisces, it's like a chapter is closing with this Pisces full moon, and there are endless possibilities. It feels like on Sunday with the sun and Uranus connecting, with the moon conjunct Jupiter and Aries, it really feels like a fresh start. So cool how it aligned like that. Really love this and so comforting. I feel like this full moon is going to be super transformative. Ah, yes, you do your first sound bath Saturday night. Sound bath, a perfect way to tap into the Pisces energy. Sound healing is like Pisces to me. Like that is Pisces energy. If you've never had a sound bath, that is so perfect. And you could probably find one on YouTube or something like that, but going to one in person, if you can, is such a powerful way. It's so transcendent. It just, again, a sound bath like is Pisces energy to me in so many ways. Every time we get together, I think about how aligned and connected we are. Love being part of this community, and congrats on your first sound bath. What a sweet comment. Thank you, Corby. And we really are all so aligned. You know, it's interesting because, of course, my energy is going to draw in similar energy, but it's really wild using astrology to notice the commonalities between all of our placements and, you know, the kind of energy of people I call in and how you connect with each other. Super cool, super powerful. Let's come back to our affirmation for this episode. I love unconditionally. If there's anything that the Pisces moon can teach us, it's about unconditional love. It's that sensitivity. It's why we cry. It's why we feel all the feelings, because we have such a capacity for love. It's when we put judgment or restrictions or rules on love that we get a little bit into tricky territory. And that's where Virgo energy kind of comes into play, of having expectations on people. Remember, love is not transactional. Love is unconditional. So really tapping into unconditional love under the Pisces moon, feeling what that feels like, being able to receive unconditional love as much as we give it as well. I love unconditionally. Yes, Ashlyn's sound bath transformed me extremely, and she's a Pisces. Yes, exactly. She's very Pisces too. A dreamer, the way she communicates, she's very fluid and flowy and a little bit out there, but has a really beautiful energy. And yes, her sound bath was so beautiful. And it's no secret, Pisces end up being artists and dreamers and musicians because they do have a way of sensing energetically what people need and using the energy of music to heal people. Pisces, again, is a very healing sign. Okay, let's finish out with our tarot pull, our card pull. I'm actually not going to pull from a tarot deck. This deck was calling me, the Cosmic Dancer. Feels very, very Pisces, moving energy through art. So I'm just going to pull one card, just one card today for the full moon and Mercury retrograde, whatever we need to know, whatever message the universe has for us. And this card today is just as much for me as it is for you, because wow, has it been an emotional morning on my end. So, you know, I was going to pull a card on my own, and then I said, you know, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to pull it together to see what collective message needs to come through. But if you're feeling sensitive, again, I know I've said that 1,000 times in this episode, but I just want you to know that you're not alone. I'm feeling it too. And the universe is really forcing me to slow down and rest today. I almost didn't come on and live stream, but you all know that this fills me up and makes me happy and gives me energy, gives me life. So even though I probably should just be laying down and resting, I was like, you know what? I'm going to come on because I want to feel good. And this makes me feel good. This fills up my cup. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. I think it will. I think it'll get better. But I'm not usually like highly, well, I shouldn't say that. I am a sensitive person, but I'm not somebody who like cries on a dime, but I'm not kidding when I say I've been crying like all day. Thank you for being here, Nick. I appreciate you all of your beautiful energy. Okay. Everybody who's joining me live, if you are on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, let's all just take a moment to be here to tap into this collective energy, this energy of oneness, of unconditional love through one big deep breath all together. And as you're taking the deep breath, envision all the beautiful souls watching with us right now, all breathing with you. We're all in this together. So here we go. Breathe in. And let it out with an audible sigh. Release. What do we need to know? Stretch and expand is the card that came up. Stretch and expand. Card number 17. Really interesting that we got card number 17 because I believe, well, I know actually the full moon is at 17 degrees. So card number 17 really feels on point with this full moon. Here's what the guidebook has to say. Stretch and expand. Comfort can be a wonderful thing, but when we never stretch beyond our comfort zone, we limit our possibilities and life becomes boring and stale. You might say that our comfort zone defines and holds in place that which limits our upward growth and forward movement. On the other hand, expanding our comfort zone allows us to bust through blocks of all varieties and experience the success, spontaneity, and fulfillment we desire. In life, dance, athletics, and all forms of creativity and embodied movement, when you feel the edge of discomfort and safely move beyond it, you gain proficiency and ascend into higher levels of mastery. You strengthen both body and mind. You open up new channels of energy and new avenues of expression. Just as you wouldn't push your body so hard that you injure yourself, it's important to temper your discipline with loving awareness. Stretching the body and trying something new can be exhilarating and joyful when done with mindful self-approval rather than harsh self-punishment. Depending on what your intuition dictates, this may look a number of ways. It may be trying something that intimidates you, moving bravely through something strenuous, or simply stretching a tiny bit further each day. An important aspect of the spiritual path involves recognizing the inner resistance that keeps you small and stops you from experiencing your heart's desires. For example, while even the most experienced performers still feel a degree of stage fright, they also know that to deny their calling will only serve to crush their joy. Additionally, you will benefit from expanding your perspective and seeing other points of view. Relax overly rigid opinions and consider the situation from every angle. Allow your sense of reality to be more fluid. Get comfortable with paradoxes and release either or type thinking. Be open to more than one thing being true at once. To anchor this message into your body, stand on your tiptoes and reach your hands up to the sky. Stretch from your fingers to toes while lengthening your spine. So the card just goes on to walk us through a stretch. Any stretch should do as long as you're feeling that nice. It literally says on the next page, any lengthening or strengthening form of embodied movement will help anchor this message, particularly when it takes you past your comfort zone. So maybe trying a yoga class and doing a pose you've never done before. When you listen to your body and lovingly push it further with stretching or strenuous exercise, you will discover that pain and discomfort are nothing more than sensations. Staying with the exercise in a safe and mindful way can reveal a deeper level of endurance, excellence, and personal power. Reach for the cosmos, broaden your horizons, blaze through boundaries, move beyond apprehensive resistance, and find the magical blessings on the other side. Tap into new worlds of possibility. You will surprise and delight yourself with just how far you can go. I knew we only needed one card because that card embodied literally everything we've talked about. Really taking that moment. We talk a lot about rest with Pisces, but stretching, slowing down, releasing tension through stretching ourselves a little bit out of our comfort zone, stretching our mind beyond analysis, beyond our current beliefs, being willing to push ourselves just a little bit further can open us up to entirely new possibilities. And I love that we got this card for the Pisces full moon, stretch and expand, even expanding our mind beyond either or thinking, like it said, which brings up that Mercury retrograde in Libra energy of wanting like communication clashes in relationships. So stretching a little bit, being willing to take that extra moment to mirror what the other person is saying. So I love this card, stretch and expand, and also inviting me to do a little bit of stretching today. Maybe that's how you move energy through you today. It doesn't have to be a run or an all-out thing under the Pisces moon. It can just be simple yin yoga, flowing movements, a little bit of interpretive dance, stretch your body, give your body that release through slow, juicy movement. Thank you, Rose. I get so much comfort and reassurance from doing this, and I like almost can't start my day off right without doing this. So even though I was struggling this morning, I was like, this will actually make me feel better. I know that. So for me, coming on and talking through the transits with you all and sharing these moments and these reflections is part of my self-care, and I'm so grateful to be here. Happy to see you in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Definitely looking for some replenishment and rest and healing under this Pisces moon, because my body is asking for it. My body wants me to stop going all the time. So we'll be chilling out for the rest of the day, most likely. All right. Oh, thank you, Corby. I will receive that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for taking the time to attune to the energy of the full moon, to become more cognizant of your own patterning, your own sensitivities, what's your body showing you, what's your mind showing you, and for just taking this moment to evolve, to become an even better version of yourself than you already are. I will be back on Monday morning with a look at the transits ahead, and I hope you all have a beautiful weekend. I hope that you experience some magic, some insights, some release, and some flow under this Pisces full moon. Remember to be gentle with yourself and be gentle with other people. I love you all. I will see you right back here on Monday morning. But until I see you next, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.